Hey there, everybody. I hope I got my microphone on. I do. And welcome into the Fallout Shelter. How's everybody doing today? I know another weird time for me to be coming on. They just all seem to be weird times for me to be coming on lately. But I have to work with what's given me. And it's raining this morning, so I couldn't go do what I needed to do this morning. And it seemed to be the time to make a few videos and to come on and get this out of the way before I just let it go forever. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way. Well, let me say hello first to Tony and Mike and Karen and Plays in the Dirt, Dr. 85, Deidre. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining me on an early, well, it's early for me because I was up to 3 o'clock in the morning and up pretty early this morning, and it just is what it is though, right? Hey, Truth Lady, good to see you. Check this out. Over the past, say, couple of months, there's some things that had come up in my life and they kind of put some strains and stresses in places and was taking my mind away. And even though we were showing the hypocrisy and the redundancy and the repetitiveness of the mainstream news, it's hard to do the mainstream news at all and not come across as scareful. That's not what I want to do here. It's not what I ever wanted to do, and I'm not going to. I will give my opinions on things, but I think if you've made it to watching me, probably you've heard about the Agenda 21 coming for years, because as much as I've done all this stuff, I've never put it out there. This is not something that was comfortable and easy for me. So what I want to do is I want to go back to kind of what I started at, and we're going to go over the history of the foot on your throat, what's been done to us, and how we know these things never stop. So we're knowing what to look for, how to prepare to be ready, because no matter what, Christ said all these things have to come to pass. Now, I was in the process of researching atomic energy to a pretty deep level, of the tokamaks being all over the country and the world. And I kind of got away from that because the coronavirus kind of put all of us in one place. And I don't want to be there. So I'm getting out of it, and I'll tell you why. And then I'll be done with the coronavirus for good until, need be something else. All of our other stuff, I love you too, Michelle. I really do. With y'all, that was my first Twitter follower, and I still pay attention to everything she says on Twitter. We may disagree on a couple of things, but much love to you, Michelle, with all my heart. My wife still asks about you all the time. So we're going to get back to what we kind of started here with. We're going to go over what's been released from the government on the things they've done, and what'll happen 50 years from now that our grandchildren will find out happened to us that we should have known about because we should have saw the signs by looking at the past. Now, I'll still get worked up, and I'm still going to go over things that I see in the news that drive me nuts, but I refuse to be a fear channel, and I don't know exactly how to stop it completely, but I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it at all. So let's figure this out. I've had this off for a while. This is going to be what I want to tell y'all about bioweapons. If you go back and look at my other videos, the live streams, that's it. I locked up there for a minute. I do that. If you go back and look at some of my live streams over the past few weeks, we have went over the technical and scientific data that shows me. I will definitely do so, y'all. I went over the scientific data that shows you where all these viruses are completely man-made. Then they completely man-make the vaccine. They have to have both to make. They have to have the one to make the both. I've showed you the stock markets on Inovia, Novavax. I've showed you where the funding for both sides comes from. The viral centers, the BS4s, where they get their money, the Gates Foundation. And then where Inovia and Novavax gets a lot of their grant money, the Gates Foundation. Then where all of these world organizations are getting their money for the world vaccinations, the Gates Foundation. Now, you put all of that together, and Inovia is already talking about a DNA level vaccination, which means they have DNA level viruses. So I've said publicly, and this is my opinion. This is my opinion. I think the people in China are being targeted. I think there's absolutely something horrible going on there, and I think their Asian DNA is being targeted, and whatever's hitting them is hitting them in that type of manner. We know they can do that. That's not that hard a technology anymore. Wow, that microphone might be clipping. Let's try that a little bit. Okay, that technology is not even far-fetched anymore. So let's go back now and look at everything that's been done in the past by our great government to us, and look at what's going on now. So let me see. There's got to be a way. I've got set up screen share here. There we go. Now, all of the links to every bit of this are in the description below. I put them all there before we started. And I'm going to read you a couple of articles from Business Insider. Now, I'm going to show y'all basically exactly how I do this. Monetize and weaponize the DARPA way. Absolutely. Economize everything. That's the elite way. I've almost got it memorized. The first page of Morals and Dogma, the first couple of paragraphs, it starts out something like steam rising blindly from the hurtling locomotive, steam flying down the track or something. And then it calls that steam a blind force. And then it talks about the intellectual force. Well, we are that blind force. The elite are the intellectual force, and they claim it is their job. I will fix that. I don't know what's up with my microphone here. Hi. Test, test. Oh, it might be that I moved away from it. Might be that. I don't know what. Oh, okay. Hold on. I don't know what's up with my stuff here. It just keeps jumping around. I'll fix that. Hold on. I have to have. Well, I'll just tell y'all. I don't mind. There's a booster on the OBS settings that has to be jacked way up for my microphone to work. And it keeps going down for some reason. That is so weird. Let's try that one more time. and then I won't touch it again, and we'll see what happens. Okay, we're going to leave it right there and see what's up. Maybe I won't have to scream. Okay. Now that I've wasted all of this time, let's get into, anyway, the coronavirus, I believe, is a man-made virus. It has a man-made vaccination. It was available on January the 12th. That's on the Inovia website, already out to researchers. And all of the news said they're going to fast track it, which I said was going to be really quick. And so that's what's happening. They're trying to scare people in America, and I'm not going to have it. And it should be back. It took it a second, but now I think I got it right. It should come back to y'all. Okay. it'll be good for when I start to read the articles anyway, or go over them. Now, like I said, all of these links are below, and I'm trying to get most of them in our Discord. These first few are from a Business Insider, so I'm just going to read you a little bit of what they printed. And this was back in 2015, 2016. On September 20th, 1950, a U.S. Navy ship just off the coast of San Francisco used a giant hose to spray a cloud of microbes into the air. No, they don't spray stuff from ships and airplanes into the air. We don't have the technology for that. We only had the technology for that since they started using ships and airplanes, people. The military was testing how a biological weapon attack would affect 800,000 residents of the city by spraying them with a biological agent. Have a great day, Michelle. Love you. Thank you for stopping by. And I was one of the first ones to click a thumbs up on your video yesterday, even if it was of the president. She loves the president, y'all, so I pray for the president for Michelle because I love Michelle. And this is disclosure. I'm going to get to the government documents on this, that I'm just sharing a lot with y'all because I don't have time to read every bit of it. I kind of scan them and go, oh my gosh, I got to share this with people. The Navy continued the test for 7 days, potentially causing at least one death. It was the first large-scale biological weapon trial that would be conducted under a germ warfare testing program that went on for 20 years, from 1949 to 1969. And if you believe it stopped in 1969, well, I got some oceanfront property up in North Mississippi to take care of you. Over 239 known tests in that program. San Francisco was notable for 2 reasons. Said Dr. Leonard Cole, who documented the episode in his book, Clouds of Secrecy, the Army's Germ Warfare Tests Over Populated Areas. That is a book I would think I would like to check out. And get away from the screens and sit down with a book in a dark room painted with electromagnetic frequency paint and try to get away from some of the blasting frequencies on our heads. I'm looking for some stuff for that. That's the type of stuff I want to promote. Hospital staff were so shocked at the appearance of the patient infected with the bacteria Serratia marcescens that, I think I said that right, or I might have butchered it. I don't know. I didn't even stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so I could have got that blastedly wrong. That had never been found in the hospital and was rare in the area, that they published an article about it in a medical journal. Now check this out. This is one hospital that published in a medical journal that 10 people were sick from this and 1 died. So that number 11 is all that's still out there as far as what happened here. But that's only because that hospital published that paper. How many hospitals had sick people that they never really knew what was going on there? The numbers are always so skewed and never correct. Like I said, all the links for these are below. Let me go on to the next one. Let's see. This was another one that had came out of a year earlier in the Business Insider, and I didn't really understand why these were coming out in the Business Insider. And then it hit me that as this stuff is becoming more light to light, these companies are going to be more liable for what they've done in the past. And what they're doing is they're starting to direct investors out of this area. That's what I definitely believe. So I will show you. San Francisco's fog is famous, especially in the summer when weather conditions combine to create the characteristic cooling blanket that sits over the Bay Area. But one fact that many may not know about San Francisco's fog is that in 1950, the U.S. military conducted a test to see whether it could be used to help spread a biological weapon in a simulated germ warfare attack. This was just the start of many such tests around the country. I mean, this is on and on and on. The redundancy, a successful biological warfare attack. They actually considered the test a success. Well, I guess they did when they had a mysterious death and they ended up with a family that wanted to sue. This is what happens when the Serratia marcescens gets onto bread. It turns red as the bacteria colony grows. I'm sure that is... They said this stuff, it wasn't harmful at the time, but now it's a toxin. And that's just my point that I'm going to get to in a few minutes. We'll get past... I got the article set up first to go ahead and get them out of the way. And we have another one here where the Army sprayed St. Louis with a toxic aerosol during a just revealed 1950s test. Now, y'all see this picture right here where it says cadmium sulfide. I find it extremely odd that the AP used a product from United Nuclear in this picture. Now, I'm sure that's because it was being used on this television channel that this picture was cut from. And it says the Army secret chemical, cadmium sulfide. It also says United Nuclear. Do y'all know who owns United Nuclear? Well, let me show you. This is a lawsuit from the Department of Justice versus United Nuclear Scientific Supplies. The owner of the United Nuclear Scientific Supply Company is Bob Lazar. Mr. Area 51 himself. The United States versus Robert Lazar, and he was in trouble for some type of chemical over fireworks. But my point to this was showing you the Bob Lazar with this United Nuclear cadmium sulfide. It's all connected. It's all connected. Hey there, V Donkey. Faces in the Sky. Karen Preston. Boop, boop. Dr. 85, I think that's what that says. Fate and Michael Loretta. Linda Bumpass, pause the name. Kirk Merlo, see y'all coming in. Good to see all of y'all. Evergreen Aviation. Yeah, I've done a little bit on Evergreen Aviation. They got some weird stuff going on there. They have got this crazy indoor park at their air museum. It's really weird. Excuse me. Okay. Let's see. Doris Spates was a baby when her father died inexplicably in 1955. She has watched 4 siblings die of cancer, and she survived cervical cancer. After learning that the Army conducted secret chemical testing in her impoverished St. Louis neighborhood at the height of the Cold War, she wondered if her own government is to blame. In the mid-1950s and gain a decade later, the Army used motorized blowers atop a low-income housing high-rise at schools and from the backs of station wagons to send a potentially dangerous compound into the already hazy air in predominantly black areas of St. Louis. Local officials were told at the time that the government was testing a smoke screen that it could shield St. Louis from aerial observation in case the Russians attacked. But in 1994, the government said the tests were part of a biological weapons program, and St. Louis was chosen because it bore some resemblance to Russian cities that the U.S. might attack. The material being sprayed was zinc cadmium sulfide, a fine fluorescent powder. Now, new research is raising greater concerns about the implication of those tests. And why? Because, well, Taylor's research has raised the possibility that the Army performed radiation testing by mixing radioactive particles with the zinc cadmium sulfide, though she concedes there is no direct proof. But what we have is, in this article here, as I scrolled way down, because it's really long, that's why I left the links, they're like an unlikely source. And I'm like, wait a minute. They sourced this. And of course, it's an unclassified version, which means it's doctored up and prettied up for the public. We never really get to see it all, but we have to take what we can get. We have to work with what we can find. We have to have discernment. Might be something I talk about in a minute. I might make some people mad, but I hope not. So I was like, well, they've got this. Let's absolutely find this. So I did. And the links that I found from this article were actually pretty good links. Anytime this blue lights up, I go check it, see what it says. Cadmium that was told to be safe back in the 1950s that they were spraying on cities to test for. What does OSHA now say about cadmium? Cadmium and its compounds are highly toxic, and exposure to this metal is known to cause cancer and targets the body's cardiovascular, renal, gastrointestinal, neurological, reproductive, and respiratory system. So now you have OSHA. That's their view on cadmium. And you have cadmium sulfide from United Nuclear, which was Bob Lazar, which that's just a really weird thing to me for it to all come together. And I had another article somewhere about them spraying the, maybe it's over here. I'm trying to find it real quick. And I might have to put this link in chat because I lost it right here. Maybe this is it. Let's see what this is. the day Subway got dusted. Wow, maybe it was all of these things popping up in front of me is the reason I got rid of it. Larry Wayne Harris apparently had non-lethal germs, but if he or Saddam Hussein or anybody else wants the real stuff, they need only dig up a few spores from the grave of some anthrax-stricken cow. I don't know what this is. Okay. The team observed what happened to the germs when a train departed the station. That's right. They took the germs of Bacillus G something. I can't pronounce the G word. It's really weird. I'm just going to call it the Bacillus G bacteria, or I'll just call it the bacteria in the subway or something. But they took it and put it in light bulbs. And as they took these light bulbs and they put them on the track, they would see exactly how far the germs carried as the subway went down the track. I've never been to New York. I don't know how far this is, but it says that they traveled from 14th Street to 59th Street. Agent was recovered an air sample in all but one station in the test on the 8th Avenue line within 5 minutes. 5 minutes after each dissemination was initiated. I don't know what that means, but that seems like it's a crazy, crazy amount of space in a short amount of time. Okay. Now, we've been over the one from, I think we've seen enough to know the government dusted people with biological warfare that they are now claiming the agents were absolutely toxic. They had hearings to come out on it. Now, what happens on these hearings and over the period of time? If you look, we're looking at 1949 to 1969. All of these documents coming out in the 70s. And then really not being declassified or seen for another 20 or 30 years, except for by some really deep researchers back in the day who were really, really into hard working, and a lot of them gave their lives for it. Now we have the access to these things in a fairly safe manner to share it. So here we go. So you have a 50-year period where the people are sprayed, the people die, the people get cancer, they're told it's something else in their environment, their children and grandchildren deal with it, and here we are today. Now we're telling everybody, watch for the chemtrails, watch for the fluoride, watch for the vaccines, watch for the poison in the food, watch for all of these things. Watch for it all coming to fruition and all going to come get you. And what's going to happen, our grandchildren are going to be screaming to somebody, if the world's still here, they were poisoning our grandparents. And there was a few people that were trying to stop it, but the world wouldn't wake up because they wanted their cheap food. They couldn't take care of themselves. We're set up to be, I looked it up and I think I've lost it. It may be in a different stream set of stuff, but we're a right now society. We're not set up to be took care of for any type of period of time other than right now. The stores roll over so quickly. They would empty quick. I agree with all of that stuff y'all are saying. It's exactly right. Well, y'all hear me. I snort and sniffle all the time. And if airplanes are spraying, my feet hurt worse and my nose constantly drips. And it has for years, since 2012 when the spraying got really bad here. And I really started pointing it out to people around me, and they were all telling me I was crazy. And then all of a sudden, one day, everybody else has got neuropathy and sinus problems that never had them before. And they're going to the doctor, and the doctor tells them it's the pollen's changed and all of this. And I'm saying, no, it's not. They're spraying us with nanoparticulates, no matter how they get them through the engines, no matter how they get them out of the ships, no matter how they get it in the atmosphere. It's all man-made. I put out a video just a little while ago. I follow David Miles on Twitter, and he put out a little video that they're telling people, hey, the farmers in Australia are buying the rain from us. Get ready for a rain tax, people. They're fixing to tax the water so they can pay David Miles to put it where he wants it, or put it where you want it. What's going to happen to the people that don't pay? Well, guess what? You're not going to get any rain. You're not going to get any water. I'm in Mississippi, if you're asking me, Linda. Okay. This article here is definitely linked below. And it is The hearings before the Subcommittee on Health and Scientific Research, Committee on Human Resources, United States Senate, first session on the examination of serious deficiencies in the Defense Department's efforts to protect the human subjects of drug research. So this is where they start coming out with it, how we did wrong, we shouldn't have done this, we got to take credit for our actions, blah, blah, blah. It's the same dog and pony show every time, and there's the chaos emblem right there on the subcommittee hearing. You see it on all of them. That's absolutely the Masonic chaos emblem. And that's what comes from every bit of this. Now, this is a fairly long document too. So I suggest you take these links if you really want to understand this more. Don't take my word for anything. I'm just a guy who reads stuff and has a highly opinionated ideas about it. But I don't fear it because my Savior said these things have to happen. Be vigilant, be looking for them, and be prepared. So I try to be vigilant, be looking for them, and be prepared, and not be fearful. Look, something happens every year to be scared of. Some years it's the flood. Some years it's a sickness. Some years it's the tornadoes for us in Mississippi. Just depends on how high they got the ionospheric heaters up and the nanoparticulates in the air. Because I don't believe any of the weather's natural anymore. That's where I stand. Hey, St. James, good to see you. Faces in the sky. I might call y'all's names over and over. Y'all know I can't remember. So anyway, what I'm trying to tell y'all is this is the history of the biological warfare that is being shown to us in the United States of America that you can find easily. I didn't dig hard to find this stuff. The information is available. Now check this out. This is an article that was digitized from April the 15th, 1981, and it doesn't have the verdict, but it absolutely has where the case was heard and seen and printed in the New York Times in 1981, where, let's see, the family of Edward J. Nevin, who died here in 1950, has argued in a lawsuit that his death was caused by a bacteria warfare experiment conducted by the government off of the California coast. Mr. Nevin's grandson, Edward J. Nevin, 3D, a San Francisco lawyer, is representing 67 members of the Nevin family in the suit alleging wrongful death. Final arguments in the case, which is being considered by Federal District Judge Samuel Conti without a jury, were made March 31st, which is 3/31. Lawyers said they expected a verdict from Judge Conti soon. After 2 weeks of testimony, Mr. Nevin reduced his request for punitive damages from the government to $300,000 from $11 million. Concerned about principle. $300,000, $11 million. The numbers are always the same, no matter what the case. And I don't know. I think this may have just been a coming out back then of telling people, hey, there, this is what's I really don't know why they come out with this unless they had to. Freedom of information. I know back in the day when you started hearing this, it was pretty deep underground stuff. For us in the 90s when we started hearing this, oh, what, they were spraying us, and we were kids though. I mean, what did we know? All I knew is that frequencies were the cause of spontaneous combustion, and I just couldn't figure out why. I have a live stream coming up on that. So let me get past this and we get this stuff on out of the way. The National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. This was news from the National Academies on May the 14th, 1997. Cold War chemical tests take over American cities were far below dangerous levels. So here's where they start trying to run quality control and telling people, oh, well, the stuff that we sprayed in the 50s and 60s did not expose residents of the United States and Canada to chemical levels considered harmful, according to a new report from the Committee on the National Research Council. Now, this was in 1997. Pay attention to this because it comes out and it says the U.S. Army released the chemical compound zinc cadmium sulfide. Zinc cadmium sulfide. Do y'all remember the zinc cadmium sulfide? It's boy, that would have been really cool if I'd have got the link right the first time. Cadmium by OSHA.gov and its compounds are highly toxic, and exposure to this metal is known to cause cancer and targets the body's cardiovascular, renal, gastrointestinal, neurological, reproductive, and respiratory system. Exactly what Bill Gates said that we were going to try to do by using sexual reproductive health and vaccinations. We could lower the population. So we have cadmium by OSHA, bad. But the National Academy of Sciences is running interference saying, oh, but it was safe levels. What's a safe level of a cancer-causing agent when they're spraying it on you on purpose to find out what it was? This is still going on. This is how these things spread, just like in China. Don't be fooled. Nothing got out crazy. Nothing slipped out in that type of manner. With the amount of people that have something going on with them over there, that's intentional. It's not something that's accidentally going to show up here and wipe out everybody. I see a lot of people are listening to some people that are doctors, but they never actually go find out what they're doctors of. There's a financial doctor right now who's telling everybody medical news. He's really no different than I am. He just has a PhD in finances. I got a PhD in hard knocks living in Mississippi, man. We've been waiting on something to hit us since the late 1800s. Because something happens every year to somebody, the SHTF to every country in some manner, some way. We always have to be aware and ready. No, I haven't. I'm way behind on any type of reading. So, I don't know. Be prepared, everybody. Be always vigilant. As long as you're prepared, you at least have a chance. We can't fight it 100%. We're not ever going to live in a world that's going to be easy to live in anymore. John 16:33. Jesus guaranteed us that in this world we would have troubles, but he also gave us the answer. Be not afraid and don't worry about it. I have overcome the world. Now, I know that is a very loose way to put it. I'm not trying to quote it. That's just my words. I just know what it says. So don't be scared. This is what's been happening to people this is what's been happening to people since the beginning of time. It's going to continue to happen. And if they keep us scared, if you're scared, you're not fighting. And that's what we're going to be called to do. We're going to end up having to fight for this. So and I don't know what to do. I don't have any answers. I just have information and I'm trying to share it with you. And yeah, there you go. No fear whatsoever. Be ye not scared. These things have to happen. It's coming, everybody. And we're just going to be ready. Those of us that are ready aren't going to worry too much about it. Because why? We have the answer to the end. Look, y'all, for so long I thought that I was a human being trying to have a spiritual experience. And I was wrong. I was so wrong. I am a spiritual being. I'm just having a human experience. So I had to change my whole line of thinking. I was letting that flesh take over. And now I'm just trying to show y'all what happens to us. Yeah, let's move on. Maybe I'll rant about something else. Well, I really don't have to rant about nothing else. I think I've kind of showed. Let me show y'all some of these other documents real quick. The government documents, and then now this is a thing from the National Academies that was done, prepared for the National Academies by the Center for Research, and it was health effects of Project Shad, and it was the Bacillus globi. That word I can't pronounce at all. Anyway. It's a fairly long read too, like 300 pages. It was the health effects that happened from the spraying that they done of the Bacillus bacteria. And the research is available for anybody who's willing to learn it on their own. Now, I've not read this one, I'm not going to lie, because I was really kind of tied up into, where did it go? I got one that keeps disappearing on me. Or maybe I just lost it. Well, I know how to get it. It's in the history somewhere. Yeah, there we go. There's quite a different few versions of this you can find. Hey there, love pugs. This is the unclassified U.S. Army activity in the biological warfare program. Let me blow this up a little bit because I am struggling to see. And I just about have to come on and do these things in live streams. I'm not disciplined enough to sit down and make a video with all this information in it. And you know, people will watch an hour-long live stream way more than they will a 6-minute video. That kind of blows my mind. I don't understand that. Even a replay of it. Maybe it's because they read the chat. I don't know. It's all you guys. That's what it is. Hey, you know what? Y'all are all here, and most people may not ever hear this. I want to say something because I don't say it very often. I have been very fortunate and very lucky since I started doing this. I didn't have any intentions. I started out as a chemtrail channel, and some really heavy hitters, I don't know how they found me. I never asked. I never seen them. Helped me out a lot, and I don't hardly ever say anything about it because I just am not that way. But I don't ever want to seem ungrateful either. So for the time that Richie from Boston has promoted my channel, I am so grateful and so thankful to him. I've always told people, no, I probably don't agree with him 100%. I don't agree with anybody 100% on anything. And we might not ever be able to sit down and hang out in the woods together. We may be too hard-headed with laptops. But for what he does with what he's behind, I support him 100%. But I support people that he don't support too. Now, on the other platforms, other people have helped me a lot, and I tell them over there how much I appreciate it. So I'm just going to put that out there because I don't do that very often. I'm not going to gush about it. If I was going to gush about it, I'd be a teenage boy putting on makeup or something. So, but I'm really thankful to all the things that have happened to me. And I just want to put that out there while I had it on my mind. More people will probably hear it that way, and anybody else that hears it. Hey, Fallout, much love from Hong Kong. Well, glad you're here from Hong Kong. There's a lot of y'all standing up in Hong Kong from what I understand, from what you believe. And if that is the case and we're not being completely covered with propaganda from there, you guys are showing what it's going to take to do any type of change. All right. So, and I appreciate every one of y'all too. Okay. Now that I got that out of the way, I'm not real good at that. So, let's see. We got the purpose and definition, introduction of survey, research and planning years, expansion of the bioweapons program during the Korean War. Now let's just scroll on down a little bit. This report provides a comprehensive review of the U.S. Army's role in the biological warfare program so that Congress and other government officials can assess accurately biological weapon issues which are being raised continually. The report is limited to the, now look, once they've used the word one time, they put a BW beside it. So now that when you're reading through it, it don't sound so bad because you just say to the BW technical program and you quit using the word biological weapon so that you are disassociated from it while you're reading it. So when I read these things, I refuse to say BW. The report is limited to the biological weapon technical program because I forget that quick what it is. And the policies and governmental controls which guided the programs. There were none. The military-industrial complex took liberty with national defense and basically just sprayed the crap out of different cities with toxins and germs that they said, let's see here. It also encompasses the terms bacteriological and bacterial, which were used interchangeably in the early periods. BW is defined as the use of microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, viruses, rickettsite, I don't know what that is, and substances derived from living organisms. Substances derived from living organisms. Now, we don't even know what that is. As distinguished from synthetic chemicals used as gases, or poisons to produce death or disease as humans, animals, or plants. For biological weapon purposes, the most effective and efficient route of entry of diseased microorganisms into the human and animal body is normally by breathing into the lungs. Ding, 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 ding. Breathing into the lungs. So if they want a big thing to happen over here into the United States, I've been showing you patents over and over where military, commercial, and all type of aircraft are absolutely set up to spray anything they want. And they've had patents to spray anything they want since 1925. As long as airplanes have been able to go through the air, they've been able to click a lever and spray something out of it. The acronym BW will be used throughout to connotate biological weapons and defense programs. That is so that as you're reading the rest of this, you kind of forget what BW is. All of the links for this are in the description. This here actually, look, on this article right here, Business Insider, right at the bottom of it, there's a little blue thing. That's it. It goes straight to it. No searching necessary, right from the article. If you go and you type U.S. Army activity in the U.S. biological warfare programs, you can get another different style of copy straight from a .gov website. And I thought I had one of those up too, and it may pop up somewhere. I've got stuff everywhere. Sometimes they're getting closed. See, I don't know why, because I took a picture of it for the screenshot, and now it's gone. I must have closed it when I've done that, which means it's in the description anyway. Which means I could probably, well, I can't mess with it or I'll goof up the stream. Yeah, it was Paris. That was really kind of freaky for me because it was so unexpected. You know, I got 10 or 12 people coming around. I'm learning how to do this. I'm not really comfortable. I'm comfortable in front of people, but I'm not comfortable with my own voice. I never go back and listen to it. I don't edit much that I ever talk in. And I'm not ashamed of it or nothing like that. Don't think that way. I just don't like the way it sounds played back. I never have. It might actually be the problem with my ears. So, well, now I can't even find the page that I had open. Gotta love that, right? Well, I know there it is. Okay. You scroll on through here, and these are absolutely, I think the link I had it from was actually, well, it's all the same. You can go read it. Look, this is how long this document is. It's 107 double-sided pages. Oh, with pictures and graphs and charts and yeah, I'm going to have to look through this more too. But I really wanted to get all of this information out to you because I don't know how many people are actually sharing this. I don't watch videos. It's weird how I got found because I don't spend time at many places. And what's really weird is how I found Mike Decker. Y'all, that's a weird story in itself. I found Mike Decker, I guess it was through an accident because I thought he was also into cars, but that's a whole nother Mike Decker. And somehow Mike Decker's car videos must have jumped on me one night to a Mike Decker chemtrail video because that was before I ever started doing any of this. Yeah, it all just might be a crazy, weird fate that this happened. Okay, there may be more links here that I go over. Now, this is from the ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. Whew, that's a bunch of 3 and 4 letters to say. Yeah, I print them all too. I got piles and piles and stacks of them that are so disorganized that I'll never probably get it all straight. There's so much that you can find. It's so easy to find. It just stacks up. Look, the rain is the reason I'm doing this right now so that I can just have it out there. And then I'm going to go to work and oh yeah, and check this out, Faces in the Sky. Check out carbonengineering.com. David Keith and Bill Gates have a company in Canada where they trap CO2 and turn it straight into a burnable ethanol fuel. Not hidden. It's right there, carbonengineering.com. They tell you what their business is. And then they charge you for CO2 and they produce more of it. With all of the craziness they're doing in the air, they're actually cryogenically freezing the trails on the airplanes to make the condensation trails. They have refrigeration cryogenic systems from Boeing that the patent is current on and was issued in 2014. Anyway, this is a toxicological assessment of the Army zinc cadmium sulfide deal for biological warfare testing, the pathogens, dispersion. It's really more of the same. A lot of this really kind of is more of the same over and over. Now I'm just showing you links that you can use. This is this is actually from Zero Hedge, which to me seems to have some pretty good articles from time to time when I'm looking through them. Some of it just kind of, I take it as a grain of salt, but the knowledge hasn't been a secret for a long time. In a classified 1948 report by the Pentagon Committee on Biological Warfare, the man's selling point was, a gun or bomb leaves no doubt that a deliberate attack has occurred, but if an epidemic slashes across a crowded city, there's no way of knowing whether anyone was attacked, much less who. U.S. Army Operating Manual from 1956 stated explicitly that biological and chemical warfare were an integral operating portion of the U.S. military strategy. And we all know that that has absolutely not changed, because this is the Bioweapons Research Institution for the United States Army Medical Research Institution of Infectious Diseases. And it is not closed down. It is currently in operation and doing fine. So, this link is also in the description. It's the U.S. Army Medical Department, where you can find out what the U.S. Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases has to say at their different links. These are not really disclosure long things. It's just things you can learn what the military and the government says to each other outside of the populace on biological diseases. And let's see, we've already went over that one. Now this right here, this is the Department of Defense's inquiry into Project 112 shipboard hazard and defense shad tests. This is a transcribed hearing that happened in 2002 and was printed. It is the actual interviews, opening statements. Senator Cleland said, "Good morning, everyone. The hearing will come to order. Representative Thompson, thank you so much for your leadership on this issue affecting America's veterans as this country contemplates committing young Americans into harm's way once again. I think it's the height of irony that we now discover that our own government put our servicemen and women in the Vietnam era into harm's way without full disclosure to them of what they were up against. I thank you very much for bringing this to national attention. We know you have a vote in the House, so if you'd like to proceed, you're now recognized." Mr. Thompson, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Senator Nelson, thank you for your interest. See, this is what happens when the cameras are not on. When the doors close and the D is left off the name and the R is left off the name, and the people sit down and they start to talk and they work on the issues that are really going to control your life, what you can and cannot do, what you can and cannot say, what gun you can and cannot have, then it's absolutely worth reading. So I share these with y'all. They are boring. They are boring. If I ever come across great parts in them, this is basically a disclosure in a long, long story. If I were to read it, it would take hours. So you either take my word for it that that's what it is. I left a link. Go read it. I don't expect anybody to take my word for anything. You shouldn't. At least go scan it. Read it for yourself. Awake is reading it for yourself and not listening to me, not listening to anyone in the chat at any point. Awake is when you find the answer in yourself and you know that answer and you don't have to actually listen to anyone. That's when truthers get together and we just talk. The truth community is killing itself. Albert Pike said, "Too much knowledge without wisdom makes a man more a slave than the regular slave. Think about that. They know if they dump all of this into a segment that has been divided from anywhere else, they can fill you with all of the knowledge they want. All of the knowledge. Because knowledge without wisdom is void. So if you're still tied up in being scared that the coronavirus is going to take over the world, they've got you locked in. Now, don't go out and do the things you ought to do. That's a terrorist function. And they can feed off of that fear and that energy. Don't allow them to feed off that fear and that energy. Just don't allow it. Put on the full armor of God. Stand tall. And as scary as it's going to be, look the devil in the eye and tell him, oh no, you ain't taking me out like that, Jack. Because I've had to fight it here recently in ways that there's times I don't even want to come do any of this. It just weighs on me, and I don't know why. Because it don't seem like I don't know. I don't even know how to talk about that. But anyway, with it all being said that way, the truth we have is my ultimate truth, and this is my ultimate truth. I do not turn away from this. I am a member of the body of Christ. We are the church. We, with no other building, no other man, are the church. That is my truth. I can go to my Father who created all things because his Son made that sacrifice and is our intercessor. That is my truth. And I veer from it not, no matter what I change my mind on. And I led a life of occultic blackness for a short period of time. That's my truth. We take care of the garden. It's our best that we can do. Look, I'm a guy that sits behind a computer in Mississippi and screams about things, but I also have property that I take care of. We grow food. We take care of animals. We shelter animals. We even shelter animals that get hurt that we're not supposed to just because God tells us to take care of them and man put some crazy law in place. Well, guess what? I live deep out in the country. Somebody's just going to have to tell on me if I pick up a squirrel that needs some help because we're going to take care of that squirrel. Period. And now if that squirrel goes out and it gets eaten by another animal, it gets eaten by another animal. But it's our job to take care of that squirrel until whatever happens. And that's the way we live. And I'm thankful that I married a woman that feels the same way. So, cool. Anyway, I've shared the links. I've talked about it. You know, bioweaponry has been going on by our government. You know, it's still going to be going on and it's going to continue to go on. That's how these things spread. We also, you could go back, look at the other live shows I go about where they talked about actually doing human testing with some of this stuff. I love Mississippi, y'all. I don't want to leave. I used to be like when I was a kid. I can't wait to get out of here. I'm glad I never did. I probably wouldn't have come back. And I love it here, y'all. I love it. Yeah, we do everything we can to. Man, you'd be surprised at what we took care of. We actually have safe traps for animals that are unhealthy to our health, and we can safe trap an animal if it's really bad. We can mercifully and quickly put it out of its misery. And that is absolutely something that we are called to do. You should not save every animal. You should be able to be the person that was made for that. And if an animal is suffering, you should take it out of that suffering, without a doubt. And you should do it quickly, and you should do it mercifully. Uh, so there's ways for that. So anyway, that's just part of living where we live, though. I live in Mayberry, y'all. If y'all don't know, I live in the closest thing to Mayberry there is. Now's the most important thing we do here. We pray for our brothers because we do believe that we are our brother's keeper. Christ said, "No man hath more love for his brother than he lay down his life and die." Aleister Crowley said, "To thine own self be true. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." I can take those two statements right there and choose. Man, I live in Union. I live in a little town of Union. You know where that's at? I'm not in the Delta, man. I'm central, kind of central, closer to the east side. Not. I live about an hour from Meridian. So anyway, we pray for our brothers. If you have anything that you would like to have prayed for, go right ahead. I want some of you to know that I have y'all in my prayers. You've asked me for prayer for things. I don't mention them because if you don't type it in the chat, you may not want it mentioned here, and I don't want to end up doing something. I don't want to upset anybody or hurt their feelings, so I'm working on that, and just make sure that I do all these things in a respectful way for everyone's feelings, and make sure that we get them covered. A lot of times I will just pray over the things in the chat. And I just want y'all to know how much I love you all and I care about you all. Father, I thank you for allowing us to come together and have this wonderful time of fellowship without fear, without being scared of the evil that's coming after us, but letting us come together in strength and honor of what we can do for you. And thank you for the blessings that you allow for us. Father, I just ask you to guide us and strengthen us every day. I thank you for your son that took the stripes so that we could ask for healing. If there's anybody out there hurting, sick, that needs that healing, Father, I pray that you wrap the arms of the Holy Spirit around them and let them feel that relief. For all of the people that are dealing with the neurodegeneratives, the pain and the nerves, I know there are many or they wouldn't be here. I ask you to reach down, relieve that pain, relieve that nerve. Give us the information that we need and the discernment and the wisdom that we need to use it properly to get this out of our body. Give us the full armor. Give us the strength to fight the fiery darts of the devil and the courage to stand up and look him in the eye when the time comes. Father, I thank you for your son that came and died for us and resurrected and came to your side to be our intercessor directly to you so that we have to call no man Father other than our Father in heaven. And it's in his name that I pray and ask and thank you for all these things. All right, guys. I appreciate every one of you very much. I see we got Faces in the Sky in there. Pause the name. Margie Noser, Angel Mom Lively, Love Pugs, Headley Man, Saucier Slim, Nikki from Texas. Oh, hey, Nikki, good to see you. Always praying for all of you guys. Megan F, Stephanie, Dr. Evels, Haruko Gaiman, and Spence. You guys are awesome. I appreciate all of you coming to hang out with me on a Friday morning. It's a lot easier for me to get this information out with a few of y'all. Giggles too. Michael Lorette, Mike D. It's always a pleasure hanging out with y'all. I have another stream set up. I'm going to give y'all a quick sneak peek of something real quick. I have one more stream set up and ready to go, but I didn't want to do them together. But I will show y'all what's coming up, and y'all be ready for it because it's going to be important. I have a lot of government documents, and a lot of people have probably already saw them, but they're new to me. It's just the way I do my research. I don't dig other people's research, and maybe I find something new. This is Defense Intelligence Controlled Offensive Behavior of the USSR that was prepared by the Army. This is on microwave technology and ultra high frequencies. I have the effects of non-ionizing electromagnetic irradiation, a U.S. Joint Publications Research Service from the CIA. Some FOIA stuff on microwaves as weapons. The Soviets studying microwaves as weapons. Biological effects of electromagnetic radiation in the Eurasian communist countries. I got a lot of stuff on this coming up. I also am going to link this together with what is the notes on the Russian law for high frequency weaponry and what they have coming up. So that's just a little sneak peek of what's going to be coming up on the next live stream. I don't know when it'll be. It'll either be, well, y'all just be looking because I pop on when I can. And it is about time for me to have to head on out to work now. Look, guys, I love you all. I appreciate you. Hope y'all have a great day. And I hope it's more sunny where y'all are at than I am. It's raining here. We've seen about 5 days of sun. So have a great day, everybody.